Welcome to Cedar Hill Country Market. Today I'm going to be sublimating photo slabs like this, and these are 5x7, and you can put you can sublimate photos or graphics of any type really on this slate, and they're very much a beautiful gift for anyone, even yourself. So I'm going to show you how I do them. There's lots of YouTube videos on sublimating slate. I buy mine from Johnson Plastics here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But they have a website you can purchase them from, and I'll leave a link in the bottom in the description for everybody. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera down here on my desk, and we're going to get started with doing
the very first thing
sublimation.
we're going to do is we're going to
Open them up. The larger size slats come with the little stands, and I'll show you at the end how they do that. They're just plastic stands. I wish they weren't plastic, but they are. They wrap these in bubble wrap. They're pretty good. And the Johnson Plastic Company, their stuff's gonna be shiny high gloss. It's not gonna be a matte finish. So if you're looking for a matte finish, you probably wouldn't want to get your sublimation slates from them, because as you can see, I don't know if it shows up in the camera, but it's shiny. My customers like the shiny, but just, you know, you might want to ask your customer to make sure, but I advertise mine as glossy, so they're okay with it. The next thing we're going to want to do is you're going to want to take a lint-free rag, and you're going to want to clean. And if it doesn't get everything off, you're going to want to take a cotton ball and some rubbing alcohol and go over it and let it completely dry. These are quite jagged because it's, you know, it's slate rock. And I'm sure they put this on a slab and then they paint the sublimation film on top of it. And then they somehow use a saw to cut it, and they're jagged. It's not enough to cut your hand, but it's supposed to give it a really timeless, forever kind of, you know, product. But you'll get little pieces of lint. If you don't get this off, it's gonna show up in your photograph and you will not be able to get it off. Okay, I've already got another one here that's folded. This order is for 2 of these and a smaller one for a pet that's passed away. So that's the order, and that's what I'm going to work on. Okay, so we'll put that over to the side. Now, I've printed this photograph on sublimation paper from a sublimation printer. I have an Epson SC F570. It's one of the top of the line Epsons on the market right now. One of the best purchases I've ever made. If you have any questions about this particular printer or where I purchased it, just leave me a comment in the below, and I'll be happy to provide you with the place where I purchased it. Just outstanding. Never have to adjust a setting. I've never had any issues with it, and I've printed quite a bit. A set of inks has lasted me more than 6 months now, and I print on it all the time. Now, this printer does not print white, it voids white, which means wherever white appears, it just doesn't print the ink. And wherever there's a shadow or obviously a color, it will print that color. And it is a CMYK printer. So I'm going to move this over to the side because we're going to need to get our photograph down. Now, I oversized this a little bit because you're going to want some overhang over the photo. Because you're going to wrap it, and you don't really want the ink to blow out the side and give you lots of shadowing and issues. So what I like to do is I like to put the slab down after you've cleaned it. And I've ripped off one side with my stainless steel ripper. I love this ruler. It's awesome because it's jagged and it rips. It gives it a teared look. And with sublimation, you don't want any harsh lines or harsh edges. You really, really want a soft edge so that it doesn't leave a mark. Okay, so we're gonna take this, and I've got majority of it on here. I just don't want any harsh edges. And I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna pull tight. Sorry, I'm moving the camera. Pull pretty tight. And we're gonna put a piece of tape there. Put a piece of tape there. I'm using the heat resistant tape. Put a piece there. I'm going to turn it. And I'm going to fold it over this way. I'm going to tug on it. And put a piece here, a piece here, a piece here. And then I'm going to, almost like you're, gift wrapping, I'm going to fold it this way, just to make sure that there's no air that can get in up under the paper to make it expand. And despite the fact that this is close, I'm going to tape it to this side. So just so we get a really decent seal on it. Sublimation uses a lot of tape. And if you don't like taping, you're not going to like working with sublimation. I had a lady one time tell me she loved to sew, but she hated to iron. So I knew right away she probably wasn't a very good seamstress. Because in order to be a good seamstress, you gotta like to iron, or you gotta iron. You gotta press all those fabrics. So, okay, I'm gonna do this little corner right here. Now, I'm preheating my heat press to 400 degrees. I'm gonna heat press this approximately 7 minutes. I'm not going to drag you along for the 7 minutes, but it's going to be on there for quite a while. It's not a 40-second one and done. It's this slab is actually going to heat up. And you don't want to put a lot of hard pressure on these slabs because they'll crack. They'll just buckle. And yeah, you don't want to do that. And you always want to have your photo facing up. You don't want to have this where the back is on where you can see it. You want to make sure it's like this, because if you press it like this, nothing will appear. It doesn't get enough pressure to put the image on there. I've tried it because I sometimes like to have it on the other side. It's easier to line up, and I could line it up on the heat press, but it doesn't work like that. Okay, so there's one there. This one I was attempting to do, and then I realized I probably should put this on video. But I have done the same to this one. It's another photo. And we're going to want to tug. And then I think I've got this one. I think this is oh, no, it's the other way. Sorry. This way. This way, none of the air can get in there. And this ink that is used with sublimation, it expands like, like a gas. It expands, and we call them blowouts, but they blow out, and it causes ghosting or shadowing on sublimation. You don't really want that. when I lay it on the press, I'll fold this part back. Another thing that happens is when you put the slate, when I use slates on the heat press, the moment I put these in, the temperature goes down. And that's because the slate is pretty cold. It's pretty, slate stays pretty cold. And it brings the temperature, just like, you know, putting too many pieces of chicken on in a deep fryer. The temperature goes down because there's something cold in it. But once it gets to the lowest temperature, it's going to start to rise up. That's why it takes longer than just doing a sublimation t-shirt or something like that. Okay, so I'm going to have these ready to go on the press. And once I have that all ready, I'll bring you guys along for the ride up. And I'm going to put on the heat gloves because this thing is going to be really hot. And I'm going to show you a couple things before I move it over to the table to cool off. And then we'll come back and unwrap it. But one of the things you can do to tell whether or not your sublimation is done is when you take your papers off, you see how you can kind of see the photo? I can almost make out that there's people on this photo. That's how you can tell that it's taken. It's ready to, the paper's ready to come off. If I open this up and this was blank and it was just a blank sheet of paper, I would know there's been no sublimation happening. So that's just one way to tell. So I'm going to move the camera over back to its original position, and I'm going to move the stone over here to be cooled, and I'll come back when the stone is cool enough for me to take off the paper. So the stone is still really hot. I'm going to wear gloves for now because I don't want to take any chances of getting burned. But I'm going to try to flip this over. We're going to take off the tape and we're going to unveil the photo. And make sure I can get this off. So the easiest way is with this little scraper. It's got a razor blade on it. It'll just stay together for me using these gloves. And while the tape is still warm, it's just easier to get it off. This back over. I'm going to turn the photo so you can see it. And got a few pieces. Hard to do to make sure you guys can see. Isn't that gorgeous? I mean, it's a beautiful photo, keepsake. Just gorgeous. I've got the other one in there. So we'll be checking on it in just a few minutes. But that is a sublimated slate. From my understanding from my customer, this lady has passed. And I believe she was almost 100 years old. And this is this lady's aunt. And they're very close, as you can tell. So this is going to be a memory that's going to be passed down in the family. And it's truly an honor to work on it.
Okay, we're over here
Okay,
at
I'll be back when we unveil the
heat
other one.
press. We're over here at the heat press, and I've got it to 400 degrees, and now we're going to prepare it to press.
I'm gonna put a piece of paper underneath it so I don't get any ink on my pad. I'm using the Teflon pad, and all this does is give it a little cushion. So there's a lower chance of the slate breaking. And I'm gonna put another piece of paper on top just to keep ink from spreading. Then I'm gonna grab a Teflon sheet. I'm gonna put a Teflon sheet on top of it. And we're just gonna bring this down. We're gonna press it for 7 minutes. So we'll be back when it's all done. We have to let it cool a little bit so I can handle it to open it. So we'll be back in just a minute. Oops. All right. Another beautiful stone. Okay, that's going to wrap up our video. Hope you enjoyed watching me make these slates. If you're interested in purchasing one or having one made, you can always visit my website at cedarhillcountrymarket.com. I am loading new products every week, and you'll be able to purchase this, or if you're interested in just learning how to make them. I hope this video was helpful. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments and down below. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Don't forget, please find somebody to bless. Have a great day, everybody.